If you were to ask most fans of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild what was their most memorable moment of their first playthrough, I'd wager many would say Eventide Island. Tucked away in the bottom right corner of the map and a fair distance from the mainland, the island was a mysterious and remote destination to tantalize the player. The second you touch down on the island, Link is mysteriously stripped of all his current equipment, leaving him in nothing but his boxers. From there, you need to navigate around the island and drop 3 balls into 3 different pedestals, all guarded by varyingly difficult groups of enemies in order to complete the trial and unlock the shrine. Eventide Island stands out so much in Breath of the Wild, not only because it's an immaculately designed area, but also because this trial acts as a vertical slice of the entire Breath of the Wild game design philosophy. One of the core aspects of Breath of the Wild is making good use out of anything and everything the natural world provides to take out enemies and traverse obstacles. Stripping Link of his offensive and defensive capabilities a sizable way through the adventure forces the player to reassess everything they've grown to rely on up until that point, and to start re-experimenting with the environment just like they had to all the way back on the Great Plateau. Eventide Isle provides numerous opportunities to drop rocks on Hinoxes or light up enemies in a field ablaze, which in my opinion is when the combat of Breath of the Wild reaches its apex and all the core mechanics and ideas synergize together beautifully. It really gives the player a rewarding sense of progression when they receive all their equipment back and realize how overpowered their Link has become. And much like how Eventide Island in Breath of the Wild was a vertical slice of that game's progression loop and philosophy, the same can be said for the island's appearance in the sequel, Tears of the Kingdom. Much like the first game, part of the puzzle is getting there. Link still drowns pretty quick in water, so it's a matter of navigating the vast ocean between the island and Hyrule. In Breath of the Wild, you either needed a considerable amount of stamina to paraglide all the way there, or use a boat conveniently placed on the coast, or for the real crazies out there, Cryonis your way there bit by bit. In Tears of the Kingdom, though, vehicles have changed the way players look at this puzzle. Traveling great distances in air or on water is no longer an especially difficult or rare thing to do. The game even sets this up with a Korok you find on the mountain peak you were originally intended to paraglide from in Breath of the Wild. No longer can Link just paraglide there if he wants his Korok friend to find his buddy, forcing you into an Ultra Hand puzzle. You could simply spawn a wing like I did and oh shit. Luckily, the developers placed some convenient boat parts on the coast, so traveling by water is also an option. Just make sure to pick up your drowning Korok friend along the way. Just like the rest of the open world in Tears of the Kingdom, friendly NPCs have set up camp on Eventide Isle in the greater effort to restore and reconnect Hyrule. However, they aren't able to make much progress due to the 3 major enemy strongholds on the island. So Link, this time in his full decked out gear, has to go around and clear the whole island of monsters, making use of the many Zonai devices scattered throughout to traverse the strongholds and take out the enemies therein. After completing the 3 enemy encampments, the side quest culminates in a 4th fight on a pirate ship tucked cozily under the island itself in a brand new expanded area unique to Tears of the Kingdom. Instead of being littered with potential rock-dropping opportunities, Eventide now plays into Tears of the Kingdom's strengths and offers numerous Zonai devices you can fuse and Ultra Hand together to take on the island's foes. Link and Hyrule itself are both evolving. He went from sticks and fire caveman gameplay in the first game to building tools in various flying, moving, and killing machines, as well as fusing weapons together to create new and powerful weapons. This is even represented by the enemies, as each of the 3 stronghold mini-bosses all wield special elemental weapons of fire, ice, and lightning respectively. Tears of the Kingdom on the whole is much more about your more traditional sword and bow combat than Breath of the Wild ever was, but instead of increasing the complexity of Link's offensive abilities, the new mechanics instead are focused on fusing all of Link's equipment to greatly diversify his breadth of combat options. Being intelligent and understanding the fusion mechanics also allows you more opportunities to play with the physics of Hyrule 2 and incorporate them into your enemy slaying gameplay loop. All this focus on active combat in Tears of the Kingdom is taken a step further on Eventide Island by dropping into the chasm located on the island's beach. Dropping below the surface takes you to a similarly secluded area of the depths, with the only real piece of meaningful content being an underground coliseum fight against 5 ever stronger growing groups of enemies, which will reward you with a sweet helmet that I won't spoil here. And completing the main island challenge in its entirety will also unlock a unique wing glider minigame that is really useful for grinding rupees fast, which are a pretty hard to come by collectible in the rest of the open world, so that's a pretty decent reward too. And while Eventide Island in reason Tears of the Kingdom doesn't pull the same equipment stealing trick twice, it's worth mentioning that the core idea of itemless challenge rooms are reused quite a few times for shrine enemy challenges found throughout Hyrule, with those shrines being some of the hardest yet most satisfying ones to complete. They act as a knowledge check of the player's understanding of Link's full toolkit and how the game's physics systems interact with each other. However, the impact of Eventide Island is a bit lacking in comparison to the previous iteration. For Breath of the Wild, it was such a massive reset of the game. That game has rules that are relatively consistent throughout. There's just a lot more walking around. But in Tears of the Kingdom, the systems are so free and all over the place, the game has less to wow you with when it comes to any single specific set piece, creating instead a busier Hyrule that is absolutely crammed full of weird, interesting mini set pieces. Eventide Isle being just one of many instead of a singular, unique experience unlike any other. What did you think of Eventide Isle? Do you prefer its appearance more in Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom? Make sure to let us know in the comments below. This has been Sam with the Nintendo Everything. Peace.